Hey, hi everyone. I see a lot of people here. I'll just give access to the presenters and then we can begin. Hey Rajiv, I see you. I'm giving you the access now. You also have the access to present.
Hey, thanks, Rohan.
I see you as well. I've given you the access. Please come off mute and off camera also if possible. I see Swati's there. I'll give you the access, Swati, as well. Yeah, and it's 6:31 p.m. IST. So, and we do have a good number of participants. So, Shriya, over to you.
I was on mute.
Yeah, we can
So
hear you now.
perfect. So I think great day to start. I mean, I'm seeing a good representation so far. I think we have 300 plus registrations on this 3 day training. So Rajiv, all the futures are with you of these 300 people. So we are looking forward to a very enlightening session. And obviously, as we mentioned, we want to make sure that we make the best use out of this opportunity. We know that 31st of December is the day when the free examination opportunity will go off. So make sure that we all get Agentforce specialist certified by then. Yep. And I do see Swati also here. I'm not sure whether Lucky or Neha has joined as well. But I think we'll make a start, and we also would want to introduce what Trailblazer Chain is all about. So before that, I will hand it over to the main person for this particular initiative. And thank you, Rohan, for making sure that we are all on this event today with the Bevy access. So thanks a lot through the Slack channel. And Rajiv, on to you, please. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Shreya. Thanks, Rohan. I mean, like, I've took the certification close to a year back, so a lot of things have changed, and then like I had to spend close to 3 to 4 days to like revise, redo my entire learning journey again. So which was like exciting, and then like I think the content just got changed day before yesterday, so which means like from Monday, the criteria for taking certification in terms of like the topics has changed, so that it's like a good time for us to like introduce all those topics and ensure that we clear the certification. And again, like it is like a great opportunity for you to learn if in case that you haven't taken the certification. I'll talk more about the certification, how to attempt it, what to concentrate on in the upcoming slides. But yeah, hopefully you all get to clear the certification within like next 15 days, and then like we'd be so happy to like introduce more sessions in the future as well. So shall move on to the next slide.
Sure. So, uh, this is just a quick view of who we are. So, basically, Trailblazer Chain is an initiative to ensure that we are doing things within the community with the help of the community, and making sure that each and every one of us gets the kind of learning opportunities, growing opportunities, networking, and upskilling. So, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Shriya Rashinkar. I head the global pre sales and solutions at Tech Mahindra for our telco customers. I'm also a Salesforce Golden Hoodie and a Dreamforce speaker and a marketing champion. Rohan, you please introduce yourself.
Uh, sure. So I'll keep it short. So I am like a solutions architect, and I work in the Salesforce ecosystem, working a lot on Agentforce and Data 360 now, and I lead a couple of groups like Salesforce Architect Slack in Delhi. So happy to be here.
Thank you, Rohan. Swati? I think
Hey,
Swati
good
also
evening.
doesn't need any introduction. Probably most of the people would know her already who have been following the Salesforce community.
Hey, good evening, everyone. So this is Swati. I'm a Salesforce MVP. I also lead the Hyderabad WIT community. I am currently working as a Salesforce technical architect, and recently I'm joining this from US. So it's early morning for me.
Thank you for joining, Swati. Uh, Not sure Lucky, Neha probably are not available right now, but they are a integral part of our Trailblazer chain. So this is the core group that has been working, I think, for almost 7-8 months now, Rohan, while we started this initiative, and we'll keep a separate session to kind of also walk you through some of the other things that we are doing. But now to kickstart our journey on Agent Blazer statuses as well as Agent Force readiness, I'll hand it over to you, Rajiv. And thank you so much once again, Rajiv, for taking out time to walk us through all of this.
Yeah, thanks, Shreya.
Thank you.
I don't want to talk about myself in terms of like how many projects that I've done or like how hands-on I'm with Agentforce, rather than like I'll talk about the content. By end of like 3 days, you'll get to know like how much I love Agentforce, and then like how much hands-on I have. So I'll quickly, sorry, I went on mute. Yeah. So I'll kickstart again because like we just have 1 hour. So again, like you have 60 multiple choice questions. You might have a probability of getting 5 additional questions, which is not scored. You might not be able to identify which one was scored or unscored. So just ensure that you are able to answer all 65 questions. The time is 105 minutes. Passing score is 73 percentage, and the heads up while taking this exam is that the whole uh, topic domains has been refreshed as of this Monday, which is aligning towards like summer 25 release, and the first attempt is again free until December 31st. So from the domain perspective, AI agents is 35 percentage, which is like the most of the questions you get will be aligned towards AI agents. And you also have prompt engineering, data cloud for Agentforce, development lifecycle, and multi-agent interoperability around like 5 percentage. So multi-agent interoperability is the topic that was recently added, and whatever was like existing related to like basic Einstein features were removed. So we'll talk more about it. So I'll quickly go to the exam guide. Just wanted to ensure that we understand why we are here and how to attempt this exam. So if you have been like closely looking into the Dreamforce events or any of the release readiness videos or even the release notes, the feature has been expanding, and you get releases every week, every day, or even like close to 2 to 3 times in a day. So if you closely watch it, there are like a lot of things changing, but all those changes are not incorporated in the certification. So if you are trying it for the first time, I would strongly ask you to like go through the exam guide, because like the exam guide has the split of what are all the type of questions that you will get here. I'll try to cover in the certification part, like most of the content are more related to this rather than like the general steps are like what is recently available. I'm not going to talk about any of the recent stuff that has been released, rather than like the focus is purely towards certification. So all the content that I'll be delivering it will be more towards the certification guide. So there are like things that might have changed, or you might have already seen that it is irrelevant, but this is how it works. Like you'll have to ensure that you are aware the basics. So these all covers the basics. So you need to ensure that you understand, even though the features are not let's say recent, this topics could be something that was already there for a very long time, which doesn't make sense to implement on a customer org, but this is purely towards certification. So most of the content will be more towards just a certification guide. So I would strongly recommend you going through this just to ensure that you are covering all as well here. So again, like the AI agents is 5 percentage, where you'll get to know about like what is the reasoning engine with Agentforce, what are standard and custom topics, what are the different types of agents that are available, what are the channels that they can interact with, and how does security plays a role with AI agents. So I'll start it with a way that how Salesforce evolved over a period of time. So before Agentforce got released, there was a feature called Copilot, That's where everything started with building agents within Salesforce. Uh, Earlier that you had something called as chatbots, which is more of like predictive models, but those are like fixed rules and repetitive tasks. So if you have chatted with Einstein bots either in Salesforce or any other customer org, if you ask like a random question, it won't be able to like answer it. It will simply say that I'm not able to answer it. So it's because like it's fixed rule. Later, that's when Copilot was released. I'll show you the view of like how Copilot existed earlier. That will give you like more sense. And then like over a period of time, we switched to Agentforce. This is how the Copilot builder looks. So you don't have anything else standard. Like if you have Apex flows, you'd be able to add them as actions. So altogether in general, actions were the first thing that got introduced, where Salesforce also introduced something called as standard actions. Other than that, if you had any flows or Apex that you want to integrate with Agentforce, or you want AI to work for you, this is the very starting point. So that's like more introduction towards like what is topic, what are actions. But think it from a perspective that you had like, let's say, thousands or like hundreds of Apex classes and hundreds of flows that you wanted to integrate that with agent. It became a little messy because like if you introduce like 200 actions, just telling what it needs to do, when you just ask a question, the agent gets confused because it was just action based, so it was not able to perform better. That's when Salesforce wanted more flexible and wanted the agent to like think more and then like respond. That's when Agentforce was released. The structure of like Agentforce was aligned more towards the reasoning engine. So I'll talk about like how the reasoning engine works, but then like what we got along with reasoning engine is that we got something called as topics, which is like what all the jobs need to be done. So topic is more aligned towards a use case, and then you can tell what are all the other things that an agent can do via instruction. So simply you can say that I want agent to do all these and perform these actions. So those were like written in natural language. It is purely instructions. But again, like in order for that to be executed, if you want to like add your flow or Apex classes, that's when the action comes in. So action was already existing in Copilot, just got added with topics within Agentforce Builder. So 5 attributes of agent is role, data, actions, guardrails, and channels. So role is what you want your agent to do. For example, you want to do case management, account management, contact management. It can be anything. So you define just the role of it. Data is where you'd be able to access your data, meaning like you write instructions, you also tell what it can do, what it can't do, and you also integrate it with actions using like flow or Apex. And at the end, you add it to a channel. For example, your agent can work in an email channel, it can work in WhatsApp, it can work in SMS channels, as well as in your website. So that is where you introduce all your agents. So primarily, when Agentforce was released, it was more around like topic, instruction, and actions. And behind the scenes, the reasoning model was helping agents to know which topic to choose and what are all the instructions that it has to execute. I'll probably show it hands-on so that like it makes sense in terms of like how to maintain this. So I'll quickly switch to the builder. So you might have already went through a lot of trial heads, creating agents and other things. So I'll quickly jump on to an agent where I don't have anything. So I'll remove this. So let's say like I'm building an agent altogether from the scratch. So ideally, let's say I want to build a topic. So let's say I'll just say I need to manage accounts. So the product has evolved, so you'd be able to see that the agent is able to create its own topic and other things. So when you manually create it, you'll have to input the topic name. Description is the key here, because if you have like multiple topics, so for example, I have account management, contact management, and case management. As a user, when I provide an input, how does the agent knows which topic to choose? That is purely based on the description. So your description should be precise. And let's say if your agent is not behaving in a way how you are expecting it to behave, then you'll have to come refine your description. and scope is what tells you what your agent can do versus what it can't do. So there are like use cases that you don't want your agent to handle certain things, then you define it in the scope. And what are all the, in order for the job to be get done, what are the things that you want your agent to do. For example, you want to know the account ID or more information about that account, you can define all those in instructions and then like add related actions. So for example, if you have any Apex classes or flows that you have already added as Agentforce assets or actions, you'll be able to like choose it and then work on it. So I'll click finish for now, and then like I'll just refresh the page to show you how the reasoning model works. So the reasoning model is called Atlas Reasoning Engine, which runs on a specific LLM model. But how it works is whenever a customer provides an input. So for example, I'll say I need to manage my accounts. So this is an input that we are providing to the agent. So the reasoning engine comes into play, identifies what is the input or the intent that the customer has expressed in. And then let's say if it has 4 or 5 topics, it'll be able to identify one topic. It can't execute more than one topic at a time. But in order for it to like identify that one specific topic, the description comes into play. So if I just click on enter, right now I have only one topic, so which means ideally it should get into account management. But let's say if I wanted to say I want to manage my contacts, now a contact management topic gets created. But if I ask the same question again, it won't get into contact management, rather than it would just stay within account management topic. So the description plays a critical role in terms of how do you maintain the which topic that it has to maintain. So based on the input, now if I say I want to maintain my contacts, it would just switch into contact management. So description of that particular topic is where that you'll have to maintain a lot of information. So this gives you like clear understanding. Along with that, you'll be able to see all the instructions here. So again, like if you want to like based on the use case on how do you want to develop it, you can add more instructions and add more actions to it. So again, like we looked at topics, we looked at instructions, and we looked at actions. Now when a conversation happens, the agent identifies which topic to execute. The reasoning engine, which is in the middle of the screen, is also known as a planner. Why it is called as a planner is that it identifies a topic, it understands all your instructions, and based on your input, it will precisely ask the questions further or execute the logic behind the scenes. So for example, if I say if customer says anything about like contact management or contact, then we are asking these specific questions. So if customer says update an existing contact, so it would ask for a contact name and then like update the record, which might execute the flow and then like provide an output as updated the contact. So which means there is a planning, there is an execution that needs to happen behind the scenes, and all that is taken care by the planner, which is nothing but the Atlas reasoning engine. So you'd be able to see the entire reasoning part of like for a particular input, how the agent is responding, how it is evaluating, what are the actions that it has taken, and what was the output. And it won't just display the output directly, rather than it would align with your question and then respond back with an output. So which means there are multiple things happening at the back end. So ideally, if something goes wrong, then you can just come here and then like replicate the same scenario, and then you'd be able to see how the reasoning has went along. Let's say if you're in a customer environment, or let's say the customer has went live, now a user reports an issue. So ideally, where do you come and track all these issues is there's a tab called events. All your interactions either within your builder, or let's say I've introduced this agent within my SMS channel or within my website, even all those sessions get logged here. So you'd be able to like click on a particular session, and you'd be able to see what was the customer input, which topic did our agent get into, and did it execute certain actions, what was the action output, and what did agent respond back to the customer. So everything gets locked here. Let's say if you want to like review the latest log, it might take like few minutes to load in, but ideally within like a minute or two, you would be able to see the entire session here. So this is like your go-to path in terms of like troubleshooting for a particular session. How did the agent respond here? So within the builder, we have seen how to add more topics, how to add more instructions and add actions. And the conversation previews where you'd be able to like test it and see how the interaction happens, what was the agent was able to respond back. You can go front and back in terms of to identify how the agent is responding. Along with that, when you create an agent, let's say I'll go to my agent name. Now it has like two pages. One is nothing but your builder where you build your agent. Along with that, you'd be able to see what all the topics that your agent has. So within system messages, you have something called as welcome message and error message. So it is user initiated conversation. So if you even go to help.salesforce.com, you'll see the chat bubble. When you click on it, the first message, what you see is actually defined here. So for each agent, you'll be able to define a welcome message and then an error message. And let's say if I remove this message, let's say you'd be able to see here that the welcome message is 800 characters and the error message is around 255 characters. So just keep an eye on this. Ideally, you might have questions or you might not, but this is something to note, like what is the character limit of like welcome message and error message. Also, you'd be able to enable languages. By default it is English, but you'd be able to like choose other languages which is available, and you'll be able to choose the tone of the agent as well. So does your agent want to answer casually, neutral, or formal? You'd be able to like choose this as well. Okay, and let's say if I've activated this agent, I won't be able to like make any changes. So that is something that you'll have to keep in mind. Once your agent is activated, you won't be able to like do anything, or anything that you do here doesn't get saved. So you won't be even able to see create a new topic or action button, new topic button here. That's because like the agent is activated. So in order to make any changes, or let's say if you want to add more instructions or update your description, anything that you want to do within the builder, the agent needs to be deactivated. Only then you'll be able to make some changes. Okay, so quickly, we have seen, we spoke about, like we started with how Copilot was there, what were the actions were there. So ideally, like if I go to like Agentforce asset library, you'd be able to see the topic and action. So these were the actions that were available when Copilot was introduced, and later the actions were available with Agentforce as well. So while creating a new action, you'd be able to choose between an Apex flow, prompt template, or API. If you are more into data cloud, you will know about predictive models, but from an exam perspective, you just need to know that Apex API flows and prompt templates are the ones that are needed when you create an agent. When you create an action. So once the action is created, you'd be able to add this action into a topic. If you haven't seen, so let's say I can go back here. This is my topic, and this is my topics related action. I can go create a new action from here, or add from the asset library where we have seen. So this is one thing. Yeah. So we got, as Agentforce evolved, first thing that we got was Agentforce reasoning engine. Second thing is we got topics and instructions. Now, there were also other issues in terms of maintaining the context or maintaining the conversation throughout the conversation, because since this conversation is all happening with an LLM model, LLM started to hallucinate in terms of like data it is able to read from the action. So for example, I have an action which is providing me, let's say, order ID or more about like order information. So let's say like I'm returning 5 different fields values. Now these values shouldn't be manipulated, or let's say this values should be immutable, meaning that we don't want LLM to alter these values throughout the conversation. So we didn't have any features for the agent to maintain that context. So that's when there is something called context variables that got introduced. So there are two types of variables available. One is context variables, and second one is custom variables or conversation variables. So for example, if you have worked on like ancient bots, you might know about like what context variable is, but I'll give you an introduction to it. So let's say throughout this, like let's say if an agent is introduced to any other channels, specifically to customer facing agents, all your message, all your interaction, all your conversation interaction is stored on an object called messaging session. So messaging session is the object where your entire conversation gets stored. So for example, I wanted to know who the customer is, or let's say if the customer is starting a chat from community, I wanted to capture certain information about the customer. So if they are in community, they might have already logged in. So in that case, I can identify their uh, customer name, or let's say contact ID or account ID. So there are like certain information I would be able to grab from customer before even they start the chat. So that is a capability within Salesforce, or I would say like chat sessions specifically, where you'd be able to know more information about customer before they start the chat. So this could be like the website that they are initiating the chat, or let's say the device that the customer is starting to chat with you. You'd be able to grab all that information from JavaScript of your website and pass that information and store it within messaging sessions. So since these are like use cases, these are custom. So ideally what we generally do is we create custom fields within messaging session object, because this is object that holds the entire conversation. So I've created two fields, device, and let's say I think I've created URL. These are the two fields. Again, you can see that these are custom fields that I've created. Let's say when customer initiates a chat, I'm getting all these value, but within the agent, I need to access these values, and we don't want an LLM model or any other system to manipulate it. So these fields, which are like context variable fields, are read-only fields, because these are already preset before agent builder coming into play. So when I click on this messaging session, you'd be able to see that the custom fields that I've created has already available here. So ideally, like if you create any custom variables, you would be able to see that values getting added here into the messaging session object directly here. So if in case that you want to add that variables into your session, you can just click on include fields, and you'd be able to access these fields directly within your agent. So I can see that these two fields like device and URL has been added here. So within your instructions, if you wanted to access any of the variables that you want to grab from customer before initiating the chat, or before the AI agent joining the session, you'd be able to access all these context variables without the value getting changed. So if the device value is mobile, when the AI agent joins, it will still be mobile, and we won't be able to like change it. So that's why like context variables are immutable, and they are only read-only values. But now let's say, as we have seen, let's say there is a action called, let's say I'm trying to identify my order. So ideally, let's say I'm giving my order ID and I'm getting all my order information. Now, when I get that information, let's say I wanted to show that value to customer. Along with that, I want to pass that values from one topic to another topic, or perform further actions. So in that case, it would be hard for me to maintain the value. So that's where you have custom variables, where be able to create the variable. So only three types of data types are available right now, which is text, boolean, and number. So for example, I can create order ID as a variable here, and I can store it as a text here, or based on the format that you need, you can choose one of these. I'm going to keep it as text. And here you can choose that whether you want LLM to like use this value, or you just want to display it to the customer. So all you need to know is that you can create custom variables, and these custom variables can be mapped within your actions. So I'll show you how it is done with a standard template which Salesforce has. So when I created a new agent, you can choose all the topics, right? So this is a service agent template. Again, I've included all the topics which was provided by Salesforce. So you can see all these. Now I'll specifically go into like service customer verification. So before that, I'll define the use case here, what we wanted to do. So whenever customer says that they want to manage their account or manage their case, first we wanted to identify the customer. So what Salesforce has provided out of the box is that when you provide your email address, Salesforce will send you like a one-time password. And as a customer, you'll have to input that one-time password to the agent, and agent will verify you. Only then you'd be able to access your account and case management. So in order to do that, we need to send OTPs. And when customer sends the OTP, we have to ensure that the values are not altered or hallucinated by the LLM. So that's where we store the values of the variable. So let's say this action is there for like sending the verification code. But once the verification is code, I wanted to identify is the user verified or not. If the user is verified, then I'm storing it in a variable called is verified. So if I show you back, if I go to the context variables, you can see there is verified. It is a Boolean field. So from the Apex action, once the customer is verified, Salesforce or like the system is allowing you to choose it as a variable. So I've created a variable called is verified. And as per your Apex class or flow, let's say if the customer is verified, you won't see this by default when you add action here. But once the action is added, you will be able to come here and choose a variable here. So once this is done, when you execute the action, these values are not altered, and you'd be able to pass these values from one topic to another topic. So which means the variables are getting changed. By default, it will be null. When this action gets executed, when the output is there, it is set as true or false, which means these variables are getting changed or is getting altered while certain action gets executed. And the primary reason for is that we wanted to like pass certain values from one topic to another topic or actions. So from an exam standpoint, that context variables are immutable, you can't change it. You'd be able to set all these values before starting the chat. But during the chat, if in case that you want to access certain values and then pass it across like different topics where you don't want the values to be altered or you don't want LLM to hallucinate, that's when like you create custom variables. Now you might have had questions like how can we ensure that this topic gets executed before these two? Because like when I said, if I want to execute account or case management, I wanted to know who the customer is. Only if I know the customer, I want to execute these two topics. Else we don't want the system to share any of the customer information because like the user is not verified. So how do we ensure that this topic is only visible to the customer once they are verified? Or how do we ensure the related actions on the topic can be executed only when the user is verified? So let's say if I go back to the previous one, that the two topics that we have created, I'll show you the same example here. So let's say I'll copy this. I'll say account management here because like I don't have a verification topic or anything here. But the moment when I say account management, you can see it didn't go here. I'll say I need to manage accounts. You can see here based on the description, you can determine which topic, but ideally like it gets into account management. So I'll go back here, look into my account management description to see that it hits this. So I'm saying resetting password is one of the account management topics. So I'll say I want to reset password, but in general, you want account management topic to be hit, picked by the reasoning engine, but it won't. That's because of certain settings here, and we'll talk about like how to set this. Now I said the same, but it went into service customer verification instead of account management. So how does this happen, and how do we ensure that this is right from a customer standpoint, but from an admin standpoint, how do I ensure this is correct? So that's where like if I just hit on the topic, you can see here there is something called a filter settings that is set as 1. But if I go to like other topics, I can see that it is not set. So there could be few use cases where you want every customer to ask certain questions. So for example, if I ask any questions about like my products or events or anything that is publicly available, uh, you want certain topics and actions to be executed, which are called as like public topics or public actions. So general FAQ, which is understanding more about like general product queries and everything, or free to use or customer can ask questions. So these are like public topics and public actions where an agent would be able to execute for everyone. But account management or case management is specific to users whom we wanted to identify and execute certain actions. Then we filter this out. So there is a filter called verified user, which we will see what that verified user is. But by default, if it is in a filter, unless the filter criteria is matched, these topics are not available to the agent. So I said that I want to reset my password. It went to service customer verification and it is asking me for my email. So based on my email, if the system is able to identify my contact based on the configuration, it would be able to send a OTP, and then like you'd be able to verify the OTP as well. Once that verification is done, and then it would be navigating you to the account management topic where you can ask further questions. But unless you are verified, you won't be able to manage, you won't be able to access these two topics irrespective of what prompts that you give. So for this, we go same to the context path where we have seen variables. So we have a variable called is verified, which means it will store the values as true or false based on the actions. Now there is a section called filters where you'd be able to create a new filter here. So I can choose is verified, and there are like operators by default here. I can set it as equals, and then like I can set it as true or false. So based on this, a filter already exists, which means we have to always check is verified as true. And based on that, these topics will be available to the customer. So in order for us to maintain the context or like more of like determinism path, that I want my conversation to happen in this way, that is where your context variable comes and helps you out along with filters. So this is where over a period of time the platform has evolved in a way for us to like maintain the whole conversation in more of like structured path, because there are like certain topics and actions we wanted to execute only for certain customers, not for like all customers. And the criteria here is that we want to verify the users. So going back here, we
Rajiv,
have,
sorry, there is one question from
yeah,
Rehan where they're
yeah.
saying when this will fire at the beginning or when you ask account or contact management. This is in reference to the user verification. What if we don't provide email?
So let's say I'll go back. So I'll check. So based on the description of the account management, it says that handle customer query about like contact information or reset password. So I say that I want to reset password. So it all depends on now on your service customer verification, that if user doesn't provide an email, don't proceed further, or you provide like further information about it. Based on that, it will be able to proceed further. So let's say if I just say I don't have an email, so based on your instruction it executes it. If you don't provide an email, then whatever instructions that you say that you can't proceed further without an email, then it will stick to the instructions.
Okay, thank you.
So everything, how you want your agent to respond, how do you want to handle certain use cases, you'll have to define all it within your topic as instructions. So based on that, it will be able to think and execute it. Yeah, you can still proceed with other topics. That's where like you define certain topics as public versus private. So in this use case, like account manage, anything that has a filter about it is a private topic, unless you have validated or came across that unless you match that criteria, you won't be able to access that topic. Whereas like general FAQ, or like you could have like other topics which is like public, anyone can access it. So coming back, we have seen two types of variables. One is context variables and custom variables. Context variable are like standard and custom fields from messaging session. Ideally, like you can capture all this information as a pre-chat information as part of like messaging settings. And if in case that you want to pass from previous messaging sessions as well, you'd be able to pass it. And then custom variables are something that you'd be able to update the values while the conversation is happening, and you'd be able to transfer the values from one topic to another topic or one action to another action with consistency, because like LLM hallucinates, and this kinds of avoids all the hallucination and ensures that you maintain your values. And filters helps you in a way to maintain your public and private actions and topics. That way, only if certain criteria is matched, you'd be able to execute that topics or allow customer to access that topic. So I think that's pretty much I wanted to like cover in terms of like builder. But again, like just wanted to walk you through what are all the other features in general. So as you have seen, like Salesforce evolved from predictive AI to generative AI to agentic AI. So there are like features that just remember the names and try to identify. Again, like this is all part of your trailhead, where I'm just giving you like an overview, like a split up of what are all the features that are available in Sales Cloud and Service Cloud, because it's good to know. When it is predictive, you might have seen lead scoring, opportunity scoring, and instant conversation insights. So as per the name, it tells you that it will be able to score your lead or opportunity based on your existing data. So predictive model all runs behind the scenes based on your data within your system. So let's say if you have been maintaining your leads or opportunity within the system for like last 2 to 3 years, that's like a good amount of data. Based on the data, meaning like let's say if you have pick list fields where it will be able to predict and score a numerical value, how good your data is on like leads on opportunity for the new leads or like for the upcoming leads, you'd be able to generate a score. So that way your sales team can put in more additional efforts. Let's say if your lead score is let's say 40 or 45 instead of like 80 or 85, now they'll get to know what are the additional things that they'll have to put in additional efforts to get that lead converted into an opportunity and work with the customer. So those are like all your predictive models, and by default, if you have the right licenses, you'll be able to like enable it. Whereas generative AI is more of like generating content. So ideally, for example, let's say you want to write a sales email, or once the call is done, you want to get summary of that call, where you provide all your conversation to LLM and then it'll be able to like summarize it. So this is more of like generating content. Whereas you want your agent to think about it and take certain actions on what all the information that you've got. That's where like agentic AI comes into play. So use cases, let's say I'm on opportunity and I'm a sales user. I have an upcoming calls, but the problem here is, if I have to pitch in something, I wanted to understand based on the products that I'm selling to the customer. I wanted to know if my pitch is correct or if I have to like enhance my pitch. So instead of doing so, how this used to happen in past is like you would invite someone, your manager or your peer, into a call, and then like you would do the pitch, where they might lose certain context, not knowing about like the products and other things. Whereas your AI agent on your particular opportunity has more information about what are you trying to sell, and when you do the pitch, it will give you real-time feedback. So there are like agentic features that helps you perform better and have a better pipeline as well. That is more related to sales coach. And lead generation is where you have a ton of leads within your system, but you don't have enough users, or like let's say SDR or BDRs within your organization to reach out to them and then like help resolve their questions. So that's where lead generation comes into play, where you just assign an AI agent to your existing leads. Ideally, like you will have to set a criteria which are the leads that you want to reach out via email, and this is only available in email channel. So the AI agent would be able to like nurture your lead and then like answer any of their questions and schedule a meeting. So without a human agent coming into play, it will be able to identify what all the answers that it has to provide to the customer based on your company documentations and other things, and still be able to like answer all of the questions and schedule a call with the actual human SDR BDR to take it up further. So ECI is both predictive and generative. So within ECI, you by default it was a predictive feature, but now you have generative AI capture features within as part of generative AI as well. So I think ECI comes with close to 7 or 8 features. 5 of them are predictive and 3 of them are generative AI. So this is more of Sales Cloud. Similar to that, we have it for Service Cloud as well. But the catch here in Service Cloud is that every set of features are specific to certain channels. So be a little cautious about it. So predictive AI, you might have seen Einstein bots, which was the conversation bot, but along with that, you have like case classification where based on the case subject and description, you'd be able to predict certain fields. And article recommendations are something that while you're working on a case, you'd be able to see a recommendation of an article pops up that you'd be able to use it to help resolve the case. Generative AI is where it is kind of revolutioning the whole service industry because again, when a case is getting closed, earlier you used to manually write the knowledge articles, but now you'd be able to generate knowledge articles just with a click of button. It will read through the entire case, subject description, case comments, and everything that you have communicated with the customer, and automatically generate a knowledge article as well. And once the case is closed, you'd be able to generate work summaries, and especially for chats, you'd be able to get the next set of replies. For example, like you'll have to think a lot about what should my reply be, rather than like similar to chat gpt suggesting you to like draft an email. This Einstein reply tells you what are the further replies that you can tell customer as well. Now, what we have seen until now about the agent builder and other things is where like Agentforce service agent comes into play, where you have a agent builder experience, which will be able to like support customer 24/7, answering question, where based on the context you have provided, either like let's say if you have given certain documentations, based on that you want your AI agent to answer, or let's say you have integrated your website into your agent where based on the content of your website it is able to do it. So solid example is help.salesforce.com, where you have a service agent there, and when you start asking questions anything about Salesforce, because like Salesforce website is loaded there, or Salesforce knowledge article is embedded into the AI agent, where it is able to answer all your questions. So that's generic about like what all the predictive Gen AI features. I want to stop for a minute and see, Shreya, are there like any questions that we need to answer, or we are good?
I think there's just one question around what is the actual difference between a chatbot and a agent force, apart from just the LLM part. Maybe we can take it up at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, as you have seen that when you get into Agentforce agents, when you enable Agentforce agents, you see a new agent option where you'll be able to see multiple templates. I'll talk about the ones that are specific to what's needed for the exam. So one is employee agent. Employee agent, as the name suggests, that it can be accessed by employees of employees of your organization. So which means whoever has access to Salesforce within your organization, they'll have a capability of an AI agent within Salesforce. So that's employee agent. Service agent is the one that is more towards like customer facing. So it can be website, WhatsApp chat, or any of the digital channels that Salesforce provides. You'd be able to expose service agent to the customer. And Agentforce for setup is for admins, where they'll be able to assign permission sets, activate users. Much more capability has been included, but this is more likely for admins who want to manage their org. And I don't, you can't see sales coach here because like that's part of a different setup. But as I've seen, as I have told you, like it could be a coach sitting on your opportunity if in case that you want to pitch in something for the customer, where a live agent or like a AI model would be able to join a call with you. It's kind of a call where where your transcription is recorded, and based on that you pitch something. It is kind of a role play where you act as a SDR or BDR, and the AI agent acts like a customer, and it will provide you actionable insights or real-time feedback, so you'd be able to like pitch in much differently. And SDR or the lead nurturing agent is the one that we spoke about, where it is enabled in email channels, where it will be able to pitch in initially and then like answer any follow-up questions based on the documentation that you have uploaded in the agent, and schedule a meeting with the BDR or SDR user. So this mode of sales, we have one for service, one for admin, and one for employee agent. Now, so when Copilot was introduced, Copilot was introduced for employee agents because that was just an introduction of AI into your system. So you were able to add just the actions into it. So there was no reasoning engine and there was no topics. And I don't know if you have noticed here. So if I still go into Agentforce agents, there's a path that says that Agentforce default agent. So this is kind of a advancement from Copilot. So ancient Copilot was rebranded as Agentforce default, where you had only one Copilot agent across your whole Salesforce environment. Similar to that, you had only one Agentforce default agent, which is for internal user focused, which is for your employees. Where let's say if you had like 10 different departments or different use cases within your personas within your Salesforce internal org, you still had only one agent. So which means it is hard to maintain, hard to add more topics and instructions, because let's say each persona needs like 3 or 4 different topics, then it is very hard to maintain and the agent might run into issues, because as per best practice, it is better to like maintain less number of topics and less number of instructions. So that is where like Salesforce seen that customer, especially with the employee internal users who want to use AI agents, struggle a little bit in terms of like maintaining it. So that's where Salesforce thought that it would be much more easier, that instead of maintaining one agent, you can maintain how many agents ever you want and rebranded as employee agent. So this Agentforce default agent has been rebranded in a way that you can have like multiple agents and each agent can be assigned to a specific user via permission set. So I'll quickly go to permission sets to show you how this is done. So earlier, if you enable a Agentforce default agent or Einstein Copilot, the Agentforce icon within your UI was visible to everyone. There is no control over who gets to see what. We couldn't restrict it as well. So now, if you go to permission sets, let's say, I think I've created one custom, but let's see. So I'll just click on a random one. You have something called as Agentforce, agent access. So based on the number of agents that you're creating, you'd be able to see a list of agents here, and via permission sets that you'll be able to manage. Like there are certain users who's like a sales user who just need access to like the sales agent, but there are like service agents, or let's say there are like different personas where you're creating different set of agents. You'd be able to manage their access just via permissions. It's the same logic about like writing topics and everything, but it enhances experience in terms of the different personas and maintaining their own topics and use cases separately. So that's where you can see. Now another difference I wanted to make sure that you understand is like this is an employee agent. I'm just going to compare service agent with it. So I'll click on the settings icon here between like both employee agents and service agent. So you can see the name, description, role, company, everything will be same here. But there is an add-on thing on a service agent called agent user. So the employee agent has additional benefits that it executes all your actions as a logged in user. So let's say if I'm a system admin, I am accessing this agent, it knows who the user is, which page that you're on. So ideally, like I'm on a contact page now, so you can see update fields for this contact, retrieve details for this contact. But the moment I switch to a case, you'll be able to see the context getting changed, that get details for this case, activity timeline for this. So the employee agent is context aware. It runs on the user who has logged in. So system admin has additional access. I might have access to all the records, but let's say if I'm logging as a sales user or a different user, it knows who the user is. It knows what all the record access that you have. So it will limit to what you have. You can't see all the data just because an AI coming into play. So that's the additional advantage, that from a security standpoint, you don't have to explicitly maintain anything, rather than Salesforce has built in a way that you'll be able to see or maintain the record access, field level security and everything here. But what happens to a service agent is that the service agent runs on a specific user called Einstein Service Agent user. I think I might have opened it somewhere, so I'll still open it. So this user has a special privilege, and it's similar to the permission set that you might have seen that Salesforce creates with very minimal access, like minimal access profile, where it has like very minimal access. Similar to that, this user is automatically created by Salesforce. You can still manually create it, but when it creates the user licenses on Einstein agent, only this user license is supported for adding any user into the service agent. So you can't add a profile with system admin or anything, rather than it has to be of this specific licenses, and the profile is minimum access profile that is needed for an AI agent. And by default, I think there are only two permissions that gets added. One is let's say service agent secure base, and I think this is the one, service agent permissions. So again, like these are very minimal accesses. So if in case that you want to your agent to access case records, then you'll have to create a custom permission set and add visibility to it. So either view all records or view records to that specific use case. Only then this agent will be able to access your record, else it won't be able to access records. Similar goes for like any of the FAQ use cases, which we'll talk more about it, but it is just a plain template. It will not have access to any of your data. You'll have to give for the agent to run flows. You'll have to extend the Apex class accessibility to that agent via permission sets. You'll have to provide access to all the records via the permission sets. So again, like this is the primary difference between a service agent and an employee agent, where employee agent is focused towards employee. Uh, it knows who the existing user is on their permission sets, so you don't have to like maintain anything. But there's from a security standpoint, that service agent is restricted, so you'll have to extend it from base to all the records via permission sets. So this is again like high level, whatever like I've shown on the users that you can see, and I've specifically mentioned what all the additional permissions that it needs. So if your use case involves identifying a user via contact, displaying their case records, even for like if you're exposing your knowledge articles to your agent to answer your questions, then you'll have to like extend the accesses. I know we are about time and we just have 2 minutes, so I don't want to like rush on day one. So this covers like close to your 35% of it. So again, like I haven't gone through entire training, rather than like I've specifically touched on topics. It's more of like revising. If in case that you didn't know about this earlier, or you feel that I'm not confident enough to like take this, go back to Trailhead, read through this, complete the Trailhead related to it, and then come back to the recording or watch it. Will share you the slides as well. So if in case that you wanted to like see what all the other additional things that you want to go through, you'd be able to like do it. There was one question about like chatbots. If time permits or a course of like 3 days, I'll show you how an in-street bot configuration looks like, where you'll have to define every single path. So it is more of like menu based. Ideally, you'd be able to see like 1, 2, 3 options, and when you click on one, it takes you to a different path. When you click on two, it goes to a different path. But under each path, you'll have to even like tell what are all the messages that you'll have to show to customer. And if in case that you're using variables, you'll have to mention that variable in the message. Then dynamically it will be able to pull in that information. But it is more of like fixed rules. And if you ask a random question, or if you ask a different question, it won't try to understand from it, because like there's no AI model to like understand what your question is. Rather than it would just take you to a default message saying that I'm not help you further, where I can transfer it to a human agent. Whereas Agentforce understands what your question is. If it has access, meaning if you haven't set any guardrails for that particular question to be freely handled, and you want AI to like answer it, AI will still generate an answer and show it to the customer. So that's how like chatbots are different from Agentforce, or like in general AI agents. Cool. Shreya, I know we are about time.
I
I
think
don't
there was
know.
one more question
Yeah,
from Pankaj. In one of the slides, you mentioned about the service assistant as well as a service agent, right? So he's
yeah.
asking what is the difference between both of them?
Yeah, that's a good question. So ideally, until now, let's say I'm exposing this employee agent to an internal user. So I'll have to say like, help me resolve this case, and then like Salesforce, if you have like relevant topic, it will be able to like go help you identify the resolution steps or draft email and other things. But what happens with service assistant is that you'll have a component here that's a new feature from Salesforce. Once you enable it, it will read your case, it will read your case description and other things. It will also identify what are all the related cases that you had in the past and draft you an actual plan saying that these are the steps that you'll have to take in order for you to like resolve the case. So in think it from a perspective that you are onboarding multiple new employees into your organization where they had to get training, and even after the training they might have like multiple questions in terms of like how to resolve a case, and they would reach out to their senior or lead. Rather than now, AI agent will able to like provide you detailed steps in terms of how to resolve an issue, and you can actually kind of do a checkbox thing where you can mention that I've completed these steps, and that will help you like resolve an issue. So it's not a let's say human user initiating a chat and asking an output, rather than it is kind of predefined. So you just open the case, you'd be able to see all the related actions on the case. So there is a flow again. You don't there is a specification to expose which all the cases that you want resolution steps, and Salesforce will proactively, when the case gets opened, it will be able to proactively provide you all the suggestions without an user initiating a chat. So that's the difference between like service agent and service assistant.
Hey Rajiv, this is a question from me. So basically, service assistant, I haven't really seen so far. So is it a
It
GA?
is GA for close to, let's say, 3 4 months.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
This one I may be missing on then. I'll
yeah.
give it a try. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions, or are we good for today?
Okay, there's one question.
Yeah.
Okay, recordings and all will share a email around that, so you all can just wait for my email around this. There's one question from Hariom. Could you please share the opportunity and the demand of agent force specialist? Probably someone with the vast experience in other fields like product management and entrepreneur stints.
Do you want to take that, Shreya, or?
Yeah, I think Hariom, I think this is more specific to obviously because now everyone is a AI first enterprise as well as a AI first mindset, right? It's important that you understand if you are in a Salesforce ecosystem, you need to ensure that you have these hands-on capabilities with you so that you as a entrepreneur or even from a product management standpoint, you will be able to, convince your customers better unless you do your hands on or you have these certifications under your belt. It may be a little bit challenging in this AI driven time. I hope that answers. Okay. I see one more question. It is for the agent for service assistant. Is that reportable like a
Yeah, I
feature?
mean, like everything is getting into reporting, even if it is not available today, it is there on the roadmap, and you'd be able to like report it within like next few months. So there are like a lot of things that are happening.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So I think just one thing. This was the session link that I had shared only for today. So for the rest of the 2 days, again, I'll be sending out email with a new link where you will have to join in and get benefited from Rajiv's knowledge.
Cool. Thanks everyone, and excited to see you tomorrow and day after tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Rajiv, for your time. I know you are occupied with lots of things, so thanks a lot for taking out time. And thank you all for joining. Thank you, Rohan and Swati, for being here and for supporting this whole session. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.